Okay, Sunday Night Football, what a game we have. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 6-4, heading to Los Angeles to play the 8-2 Rams. Defensive head coach Todd Bowles, offensive head coach Sean McVay. Baker Mayfield against Matthew Stafford. Let's go. This game preview is brought to you by Body Armor Flash I.V. Flash I.V. delivers faster, longer-lasting hydration with over 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes and no artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners like those other drinks have. So whether you're training, traveling, or just feeling the heat, work hard. Hydrate hard with Body Armor Flash I.V. Grab yours today at your local 7-Eleven convenience store. This Top of Mind is brought to you by Chevrolet. Football season's in full swing. And whether you're grinding through the week or gearing up for kickoff, there's one ride that's always game ready, the Chevy Silverado. Built for the hustle, ready for the game. Silverado is America's most dependable full-size truck. Head to Chevy.com to learn more and build your own Chevy Silverado. Okay, Sunday night we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my old team, at 6-4, heading to LA to play the Rams. Both of these teams are a lot different. The Rams led by Sean McVay, excellent head coach, offensive background, against Todd Bowles, heck of a coach with a defensive background. But both of these teams right now are heading in different directions. The Rams have won 5 straight games, including a big win against their arch rival, the Seattle Seahawks, on Sunday. Tampa Bay had a tough loss against the Buffalo Bills, 44-32 out in Buffalo. The Bucs have lost 3 out of their last 4, and they're 0-2 coming off their bye. The Rams' big win against Seattle was costly, though. They lost one of their best players, Quentin Lake, on defense. He does it all. He plays the nickel position. He plays safety. He's a leader and a playmaker. They lost right tackle Rob Havenstein. He's going to be out. And they also lost tight end Tyler Higbee. Higbee's been a big part of this offense for a long time. Tampa Bay has a lot of injuries. These injuries have been well documented for some time. They lost another player in Buffalo, cornerback Jamel Dean. We're not quite sure of his status, but the injuries have really taken their toll on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've had numerous injuries at wide receiver, on the offensive line. They're missing their top pass rusher. They're missing a defensive tackle and their feature back. And they have a lot of sick players. There's an illness, a bug of some kind, swarming around one Buck place. So the Buccaneers aren't in a great place right now. They have a long trip to Los Angeles. All of a sudden, the Los Angeles Rams are kind of starting to feel like the LA Dodgers, you know? Starting to get that championship feel. All of a sudden, I have this DraftKings app. I look at it all the time. The Rams are favored to win the Super Bowl now. They're the #1 favorite. And then Matthew Stafford, he's the #1 favorite to win the MVP. You can check it yourself. The Rams have risen to the occasion against teams with winning records. I mean, they beat Seattle, who was 7-3. They beat the 49ers. They clobbered Jacksonville out in a foreign land somewhere. And they did a great job beating the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. So they have been beating good football teams, whether at home or on the road. The Buccaneers, they're struggling to do that against the elite competition. They had a 15-point loss on Monday night in Detroit. They had a 12-point loss the other day in Buffalo, and they lost by 5 points at home to the surging New England Patriots. The Bucs need a game like this to get on track. Even though Sean McVay is one of the top offensive coaches in football, he's probably not overwhelmed and real happy with his offense's performance against Seattle. I know there's nothing wrong with winning an ugly game once in a while. There's no such thing as an ugly win. I've heard that before. I used to say it. But they didn't play particularly great on offense. They're going to have to play better to keep this streak alive. And the Buccaneers, man, they struggled on defense in Buffalo. They gave up 414 yards and 6 touchdowns. 3 rushing to Josh Allen, 3 passing. So the offensive-minded McVay, probably not happy with his offense. The defensive-minded Bulls, probably not too happy with their defense. The Rams are looking to extend their lead. They have a 1-game lead over Seattle in the NFC West, and Tampa Bay is looking to stay ahead of Carolina, who's closing in on them. The Buccaneers are just 19-22 outside the division in the last 4 years. So this win against the Rams would give them, I think, a lot of confidence as this season heads down the stretch. The Buccaneers need to get healthy, and soon there will be some reinforcements coming. But after this game against the Rams, their schedule does get favorable. They have 3 straight home games coming up after this trip to LA. Home against Arizona, home against the Saints, and home against the Falcons. That sounds good. And then they play at Carolina, at Miami, and then they finish the season at home against Carolina. 4 out of their last 6 are at home. Tampa Bay's got to find a way to win, get home, get well, get some of these key players back if they want to get to the Super Bowl and win it. What I love about the Rams right now is they can beat you a lot of different ways. For the last few weeks, the LA Ram passing game took center stage. Stafford had 4 touchdown passes and no picks in 3 straight games. And then against the Seahawks, it was the defense that really stood up and made a name for themselves with 4 interceptions. And they also leaned on their running game. Williams had 91 yards and 12 carries, 2 carries for over 30 yards. They can beat you with an explosive pass offense, potential MVP quarterback Matt Stafford. They can ram it at you with the running game, and they have a surprising, terrific defense. Let's take a look at the playoff picture real quick in the NFC. The division leaders, Philadelphia is 8-2 in the East. The Rams are 8-2 in the West. The Bears are 7-3 in the North, and the Bucs are 6-4 in the South. And right on the wild card trail is Seattle at 7-3, Green Bay 6-3-1, and San Francisco 7-4. Outside looking in right now, believe it or not, are the Detroit Lions at 6-4. Carolina's at 6-5. We have Dallas and Miami that are still alive. Home field is very important. Don't think for a minute Sean McVay and the Rams would like to go outdoors to Philadelphia again and play there in January. They would like to stay home at SoFi. It's a terrific track. It's indoors, you know. Sunday Night Football's not been particularly good to the Rams lately. They've lost 3 straight on Sunday Night Football. I would blame Tirico and Collinsworth for that. That's what I would do. And Baker Mayfield hasn't exactly lit it up in prime time. He's 1-7 in his last 8 games. That includes 2 Monday night games this year. They beat Houston in the last seconds, and they also lost convincingly 24-9 to the Lions. So neither one of these guys is particularly fond of Sunday Night Football. Let's take a look at the history of this series. Last 10 games, the Rams have won 8 out of 10. And I agree with you, who cares? But the last time they played was 2022, and Tom Brady hit Cade Otton with 19 seconds left. The Buccaneers beat the Rams 16-13. And many of you might remember that 2021 divisional playoff game where Matt Gay kicked a 30-yard kick to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and send the Rams on to the NFC Championship game. What a game that was. It was 27-3 at halftime. Tom Brady helped the Buccaneers come back to tie it. The Rams turned it over 4 times in the second half. Leonard Fournette scored with 42 seconds left. I was like, yeah, way to go. Oh, God, you scored too quick because Stafford had 42 seconds left. And wouldn't you know it, he took the Rams down there for that field goal that took the Buccaneers out of the playoffs. This is going to be a hell of a game. There's just too many good players and great coaches going up against each other, and the stakes are high. Let's talk about this quarterback battle real quick. There's a side note to this game with Baker Mayfield that's really cool. You know, Mayfield started in Cleveland, went to Carolina, got released. Signed by who, Jake? The Rams. The Rams signed him. Stafford got hurt. The backup Wolford got hurt. Bryce Perkins from Virginia was struggling, so they put Baker Mayfield in against my Raiders, man. 2 days after he got there. And strangely enough, Baker Mayfield reinvented his career. He fell in love with football again, being around McVay, Liam Cohen, the LA Ram players and staff, and he had success. That game-winning touchdown pass inside of 20 seconds, what a thrilling game that was. And it was a launching pad, I think, for Baker Mayfield's career. Think about what he did, learning a new language in 2 days, a new snap count. He connected with a lot of new teammates, and he was authentic in doing so. I mean, you got to be kidding me. You get in a huddle, you don't know anything, the plays, the players, you don't know the snap count, and you go down there in the National Football League and win a game. So Sean McVay going up against Baker Mayfield, I'm sure says, holy shit, we got to deal with this guy now because the guy's a winner, man, and he's proven it time and time again. He's mentally tough. He is beat up. He's had some oblique problems, but he did start moving around a little bit better against the Buffalo Bills. He scrambled for 3 first downs. He kept it on his own read, a little pigeon play in the red zone for a touchdown. So his legs look like they're healthy, but he is battling an illness. He still has a little bit of an oblique injury. 97 QB rating, that's the second highest of his career. Last year he was even higher, but he's got 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The guy can run and throw, and he is a great competitor. He's maintained a lot of production with a patchwork offensive line. He's had a patchwork receiving core. He's even broken in a new feature back. But credit to Mayfield for keeping the Bucs offense very formidable. Now Matthew Stafford, he's having historic numbers. 27 touchdowns in 10 games. 27 touchdowns, Clay. 2 interceptions. It's only been done in 10 games 5 times in NFL history. Aaron Rodgers did it 3 times. And guess what he won all 3 years? MVP! Tom Brady did it. What did he win, Jake?
MVP.
That's right. Pat Mahomes did it. He didn't win the MVP. He finished second, but that was the same year Brady had 27-2. So if you're betting, and I told you Stafford is the odds-on favorite to win the MVP, you might want to jump on that. Because when you go 27 TDs, 2 picks, that's MVP status. Number 1 in the NFL, 27 touchdowns. Number 2 in the league with a 112 QB rating. Number 6 in yards, and he's number 7 in yards per attempt. He's a badass. He can make all the throws, and his mind is photographic and fast. He recognizes blitzes, he fixes protections, he's really good in the pocket, and he still has a cannon. You know, I used to go out in pregame warm-up when I was coaching. I'd go out there early to watch the other quarterbacks throw. Every once in a while, I walk into my locker room before the game and I go, holy shit, did you see Stafford throwing the ball pregame? And we all rave about some of these guys. Stafford's one of those cats. He's fun to watch, man. One of the coolest things in this game is Todd Bowles, defensive coach of the Bucs. He calls the plays. He comes up with a lot of this stuff. They blitz a lot. 3rd in the league, 33% of the time they heat you up, man. And he's a designer blitzer. He's going to blitz your protection, and he's not going to play man coverage every time he blitzes. He mixes it up. And he's going up against Stafford, who is the best quarterback in football against the blitz. 22 touchdowns, no picks. For some reason, Stafford has been blitzed. I did the studies on this 34% of the time. That's like 3rd in the NFL. You're blitzing this quarterback, and he continues to torch you, shred you. 22 touchdowns, no picks. It'll be fun to watch Todd Bowles and his pressure against Matt Stafford and Sean McVay against their pressure package plan. Let's take a look at the turnover battle. One of the reasons why both of these teams are division leaders and we got a great game between division leaders is because of their emphasis on taking care of the ball. Both of these teams are in the top 5 in turnover ratio. The Rams at +10 are second in the league. They've only turned it over 8 times. They've taken it away 18 times. And if you call Sam Darnold and the Seahawks, they will tell you, those freaking Rams are pretty good, man. And the Buccaneers, they take care of the ball on offense as well. They've only turned it over 7 times. They've taken it away 16 times, including 3 last week against the Bills in that 44-32 loss. The kicking game will be a big part of this. And the kicking game really favors the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have Chase McLaughlin, one of the best place kickers in the NFL. He's 20 for 24 on field goals. He had a big one blocked against the Jets. But he's 8 for 8 over 50, and he has some game winners. He's got some pelts on his wall, you know what I mean? He can put you away at crunch time. The big concern with the Buccaneers is their coverage of punts and kicks, man. I mean, last week against Buffalo, write this down, Jake, 62, 44, 41, and 41. They gave Josh Allen and the Bills some incredible short fields to work with. They got to pick up their coverage game, man. And for the Rams, this will be very interesting. They have really struggled with field goal protection. They've struggled making kicks. They've struggled snapping the ball and holding the ball on the freaking ground. So they got a new long snapper and they got a new kicker. And a kicker is known as the thicker kicker. I found this out. He's from Missouri. He's like 6 feet tall, 250 pounds, Harrison Mevis, the thicker kicker. He's 9 for 9 on PATs, hasn't had to kick a field goal yet. What will happen if Harrison Mevis has to kick a game winner on Sunday night. I can't wait. The other thing with the Rams is they got a punter named Ethan Evans. And what a weapon he is. 17 punts inside the 20. Last week with 1:50 left and a 2-point lead, he kicked a 50-yard punt and it landed in a hole like a hole in one. It went out of bounds at the 1 millimeter line. The greatest punt ever that really helped the Rams get this win. There are some injuries to update you with. Tampa Bay, who's had so many injuries. We are getting close to seeing Bucky Irving, 1,000-yard back from a year ago. I don't think it's happening this week, but perhaps in those final 6 games, you'll see Irving return. Hassan Reddick, I don't think he's going to play. He's missed the last few weeks with a knee and an ankle. This $14 million pass rusher, that car is still in the garage. Chris Godwin, there's a good chance he plays in this game. Big-time slot receiver, had that terrible injury against the Ravens last year. He's been a full go on the practice field. It'll be interesting to see if they get him back in the lineup. Jamel Dean, cornerback, who's had a hell of a year. He could be out of this game, did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. He's got a hip flexor. They think he's day-to-day, which is a good sign. And finally, Ben Bredesen, who's been a starting left guard, he'll continue to be out, it looks like, with a hamstring. So those are some significant updates with the Buccaneers. And with the Rams, once again, Quentin Lake, starting safety, nickel corner on IR. He hurt his elbow against Seattle. That's a big blow. And Rob Havenstein, starting right tackle, who's done a lot of good things for this franchise, looks like he's out for the year. I think they put him on IR. Tight end Tyler Higbee's also out. He hurt his ankle. He's on IR. That'll really hurt the Rams because they've been using a lot of 13 personnel, 3 tight ends. And keep an eye on Xavier Smith, wide receiver, who's a big part of their single-back running game. He is in concussion protocol, not sure of his availability either. Great game coming up. Let's get into it. This offense-defense matchup is brought to you by Rhoback. Everybody's been saying I got to try Rhoback. Well, I finally got my hands on it, and let me tell you, the Rhoback Hezi hoodie might be the best hoodie in the league. This thing is softer than some of the secondaries I've been watching on Sundays. I'm talking real soft. You put this thing on and boom, you're in the comfort zone. You might even start drawing up plays on the couch. And these Rhoback sprint joggers don't get me started. I wear them to travel, I wear them to film study, heck, I wear them all the time. They're soft, they're comfortable, and they got that clean look that says, yeah, I still got it. So listen, the holidays are right around the corner. Treat yourself, treat your team. Head to Rhoback.com and use code Gruden to get 20% off. I'm serious. Once you use Rhoback, you're not taking it off. It's that good. All right, the Rams offense, Sean McVay will call the plays against this Tampa Bay defense, and the head coach, Todd Bowles, he'll call them up on that side of the ball. I love the Rams on offense because of the head coach quarterback battery. A lot of continuity, man. Matt Stafford is an extension of Sean McVay. They can make instant adjustments during a drive, during a break, or a halftime, you name it. These guys are quick to make adjustments. When I look at Matt Stafford, I know he's a game changer with his arm. He can create with his legs, but he can fix plays at the line of scrimmage. And he can also manage the game. Last week against Seattle, even though his statistics weren't overwhelming, no turnovers, no mistakes. And they let Seattle doom themselves. But sometimes you got to manage the game. Sometimes you got to make the plays that change the game. He can do both. Stafford knows that he can rely on his defense. He knows that he can rely on his running game. And he knows he can distribute the ball to a lot of different receivers, tight ends, and backs. And he's got a lot of continuity in this system with McVay. But let's be honest, last week it wasn't their best stuff. They only had 22 minutes of possession time. They ran 50 offensive plays. They got stuffed on a 4th and 1. They had 2 false starts. Puka Nacua fumbled the football. They made some mistakes that are uncharacteristic of the Rams, and I know they're out to redeem themselves. They did suffer 2 significant injuries to their offense, starting with right tackle Rob Havenstein. He's been a fixture there at right tackle. So he's going to be replaced by Warren McClendon, a young guy out of Georgia. Nobody knows a lot about him. It'll be interesting to see how he handles this playoff stretch pressure. They also lost Tyler Higbee, who's been a very good tight end for a long time for the Rams. He's versatile. He can play in the slot. He can play out wide. He can play attached to the line. He can block and catch and do all the things that a sophisticated tight end has to do in this offense. And the Rams have been using a lot of 13 personnel, which means they're using 3 at a time. The loss of Higbee will force Sean McVay and company to rely on these young tight ends. Let's see if they're ready. The Rams have one of the most unique receiver combos I have ever seen. It kind of reminds me when I coached the Raiders one year, we had Tim Brown and Jerry Rice on the same team. Year before that, we had Andre Rison and Tim Brown. I look at the Rams now and I go, damn, they got Devontae Adams, 10 touchdowns this year. He's an unbelievable force in the tight red zone. 1,000 catches. I'm not going to get into his illustrious history. And then they got Puka Nacua, who's in the top 4 in the NFL with catches and yards. He's a savage beast after he catches the ball. So they have a dynamic route runner, especially in short yardage goal line situations in Adams, and they got a guy they can really feature in Puka Nacua. They have a balanced offense, and they proved it last week. Kyren Williams had 91 yards on 12 carries. Blake Corum has come in as the complementary back and done a lot of good things. And they're a much more versatile offense. They're not just running 11 personnel every play. 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 receivers. They're using 13 personnel, 1 back and 3 tight ends. They'll use 12 personnel. They'll use 13 personnel and put a guy in the backfield to create 2 back sets. They're very versatile, much more sophisticated, and harder to defend, in my opinion. You know what's cool about the Rams, Jake?
What?
They start fast, and I love that. We used to put the first 15 plays in the night before the game, talk about starting fast in every period. Period 1, period 2, let's start fast. Have a good start, get everybody in a good frame of mind. Hell's bells. 28-0, they jumped on the Jaguars. 20-3, they jumped on New Orleans. 21-0, just like that. Boom, they're on top of the 49ers. Right before you sit down, they're up 14-3 against the Seahawks this past week. They start fast on offense and defense. It's a credit to their preparation and their eagerness to make plays to start the game. That's what Bobby Knight taught me at Indiana when I was a ball boy for the basketball team one game in 1977. He used to preach about the first 5 minutes of each half. You set the tone, man, and that's what the Rams are doing, and I love it. The Rams are a big-time play-action operation. 36% of their passes are play action. Now, it might be a full play action bomb down the field. It might be a play action bootleg. They also run play action screen passes to the running backs and tight ends. It's a well-orchestrated offense. And guess what Tampa Bay struggles with the most on defense, Jake?
What?
Defending play action passes. So it's going to be Stafford, his ability to handle Bulls' blitzes. Can Bulls and their defense handle Stafford's execution against the blitz? And can the Buccaneers handle these play-action passes that the Rams love to use? Those are the 2 big storylines, I think, in this game on this side of the setup. The Rams are efficient. They do a nice job on offense. They have the lowest interception rate in the NFL, 0.6%. They have the lowest sack rate in Matt Stafford's career. Only 4.2% of the passes result in a sack. And they're the fewest penalized team on offense, just 18 offensive penalties. So they play clean. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. I will hit on this 13 personnel one more time. The loss of Tyler Higbee really puts a lot of stress on this package. It'll be Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, and Terrence Ferguson. It'll be those 3 tight ends now that got to play more snaps. And I do think without Higbee, the Rams got to be careful because they could come up with some tendencies based on how they use these tight ends. I see Parkinson, 84, as a standard on the line of scrimmage, C-gap pass protecting blocker. I see 87, Davis Allen, as a guy who shifts into the backfield and helps them create some 2-back sets. And I see this Terrence Ferguson, 2nd-round pick rookie out of Oregon. I see him as a wide receiver. He's a joker. He's just learning how to block. But if you're Tampa Bay, I'm sure Todd Bowles has been looking exactly at what all 3 of these tight ends have been doing, and he'll try to decipher the defenses to use against them when they're in specific alignments. Tampa Bay's defense, I think they got to get back to the details that make them a very formidable group. They've been giving up way too many explosive plays. I was at the New England Patriot game sitting up there, and I choked on my hot dog. They gave up 4 50-yard touchdown plays in one game. I mean, 55, 69, 72, and 54-yard plays. A running back, Henderson, a rookie out of Ohio State, ran through them twice. Too many big plays. And then last week, Josh Allen throws 3 touchdown passes, 52, 43, and 25. Uncharacteristic of a good defense. It's damn sure uncharacteristic of a Todd Bowles Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense. Sometimes they're in great coverage, but there's no rush. Sometimes there's a good rush, but the coverage ain't there. Sometimes they miss a run fit, and sometimes they miss a tackle. Every guy on Tampa Bay's defense has to turn it up a notch and play one snap at a time with better detail. They got to eliminate these explosive plays. Look at them. They've given up 37 pass plays of over 20 yards, 8 plays of over 40 yards. That's at the bottom level of this league. And Matt Stafford, believe me, and all these play-action passes that McVay likes to dial up, they're going to have some shot plays ready for Tampa. You know it. I've always felt if you don't have any steam, you don't have a scheme that's worth a shit. You got to have guys that can get after the passer. When I was coaching Tampa, I was lucky. We had a defense led by Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice, man. We had an inside rusher, outside rusher. We could rush 4 guys, and we felt good. Those guys are going to raise hell no matter what we call. But right now, I look at the Buccaneers. They lost their best inside rusher, Cansey. He went down in the preseason, first-round pick out of Pitt. Nobody remembers this, but I do. They lost their inside rusher. Hassan Reddick comes in free agency. They give him $14 million. He's missed the last 3 games. They lost their outside rusher. They lost their inside rusher. If we lost Sapp and we lost Rice, you think we'd have a Super Bowl ring? Probably not. So what's happened is Todd Bowles uses scheme to get the steam. He comes up with all kind of different blitzes. And if you watch the Buffalo game last week on the second play of the game, he blew up their 5-man protection. Servassier Dennis caused Josh Allen into a careless decision. Jacob Parrish got the pick. But Todd Bowles figures out how to break down your protection. He'll bring this guy and that guy and drop 2 guys over here. He really is a pain in the ass to go up against. I'm sure that's the biggest concern of Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. Remember that name, Cansey. The Bucs are missing that inside rusher. And remember that name, Reddick. They're missing that outside rusher, and that's forcing, I think, Tampa Bay into using a lot of different schemes to get the steam back in the attack. This is a committee approach to playing defense. Tampa Bay has 13 different players on their defense that have registered 1/2 a sack or more. So it's coming from everywhere. You see the safety, Tyke Smith's got 2 sacks. The nickel corner, Jacob Parrish, has 2 sacks. Levante David has 2 from the linebacker position. They're getting them from all kind of people in all kind of different places. They have 10 interceptions on defense. 8 different Buccaneers have intercepted a pass. So they use a lot of different people. They got a lot of guys on their defense that can play forward, coming after the quarterback. And they got a lot of guys on defense that can play in reverse and cover areas of the field. So they have some versatile guys that can create problems. They do it by committee. No matter what you say, you can only measure your defense against the top offenses. And this is what the Rams provide for the Tampa Bay defense. They didn't do particularly well against Drake May. They didn't do particularly well against Josh Allen. He had 6 touchdowns combined. Now it's Matthew Stafford and McVay on primetime TV. I can't wait to see the adjustments that Bowles and these defensive players have made. Tampa Bay's got to do a lot better job, I think, eliminating yak, yards after the catch. I mean, when you look at statistics, Tampa Bay's given up 138 yards a game after the catch. So they got to minimize the damage and get these receivers, backs, and tight ends on the ground quicker, man. Too many yards after the catch. The run defense is my biggest concern right now with the Bucs. We've made a big deal about how good the run defense is, particularly when Vita Vea is on the field. I used to see Vita Vea out there and say, screw it, let's throw the ball. We ain't going to get anything in there. But when you look at Tampa Bay's run defense in these 3 losses against Detroit, Buffalo, and New England, the run defense has contributed as much as anything to these 3 losses. Remember, Jahmyr Gibbs took off for 70 yards. They've given up 142 yards a game in these 3 losses. They got hurt bad by Travion Henderson and the Patriots, and Buffalo had some good runs at the end of that game last week. Buffalo had an 81-yard drive and an 85-yard drive for touchdowns in the 4th quarter, and they ran out the clock. So Tampa's got to get the run defense back to where it belongs and try to get Matt Stafford behind in the sticks and let Todd Bowles scheme up some of these pressures. Tampa Bay's run defense is feast or famine. I mean, these guys get stuffs on 21% of their runs. That's 0 yards or less. But these long runs have really contributed to a lot of problems for this Buccaneer football team. And I go back to these sacks. When I was coaching, they say, hey, so-and-so has 11 sacks. So-and-so has 12 sacks. I say, I put the sacks on a reel. And when you watch the sacks, sometimes the scheme is responsible for a lot of these sacks. You know, did the guy use a power rush? Did he get the sack by a speed rush? Did he get the sack by a spin rush or a long arm or a second effort? Or did he get the sack because he was unblocked? No one touched him. And if you look at Todd Bowles' history, he's famous for getting unblocked sacks. He gets unblocked pressures and unblocked sacks. He's been the D coordinator since 2019. I sit in a dark room and all I do is study Todd Bowles. Since 2019, I'm telling you, he's blitzed and gotten home 413 times with an unblocked blitzer. That doesn't mean it's a sack. He's got 67 of those sacks are unblocked since 2019. Both of those stats by far number 1. This year, 48 unblocked pressures, 10 have resulted in sacks. My point is, without the inside rusher, the outside rusher, they're relying on Todd Bowles' mastery of busting up protections. So, LA, be alert with your center, changing the point later in the down to pick up some of this shit because it can give you headaches. Let's take a look at the matchups real quick. The offensive line for the Rams is intact. Alaric Jackson, Steve Avila, Shelton Coleman, and Kevin Dotson at right guard. He's been decorated as one of the top run blockers in the NFL, if you like Pro Football Focus. New right tackle is going to be Warren McClendon. Young guy out of Georgia. McClendon's wearing number 71. Put a microscope on him in obvious passing situations. It'll be fun to see. For Tampa Bay, they're going to lean on Yaya Diaby, number 0. He's got to raise hell in this game, man. He leads Tampa with 4 sacks. He's more of a power rusher and a stunter, not really the nimble speed rusher. He does have 39 pressures. This is the guy, Diaby, that has to get after McClendon and win some snaps for Tampa. On the other side, without Hassan Reddick, it'll be 98 Anthony Nelson. Nelson has 3 sacks. He was the player of the week against the Saints. He's got to play well against Jackson here. Chris Braswell, 43, will be the 3rd rusher. They have to get something done against the backup right tackle. Inside for Tampa, Vita Vea, number 50, still having a great year, 2.5 sacks, 27 pressures, and he's been pretty much the only inside rusher that Tampa Bay has. They got to get more out of Elijah Roberts, the rookie out of SMU. Somebody's got to give some juice. Logan Hall, C.J. Brewer, they got to find an inside pass rush, and they're going to have to scheme up some pressure to get something on Stafford and knock him around and hit him off the spot. The running game, Kyren Williams, hell of a back for the Rams. 40 touchdowns since the start of 2023. 40 touchdowns in 3 years. That's what Marshall Faulk did. That's what Eric Dickerson did. That's what Todd Gurley did. That's the kind of clout that this guy has, man. Hell of a runner and a hell of a receiver. Kyren Williams, 23, is playing really good football. He had 2 runs of over 30 yards against the Seahawks last week. And Blake Corum, second-year man from Michigan, he wears 22. He's solid as well. And these linebackers of the Bucs, They're led by Lavonte David. Everybody knows him. 70 tackles, couple sacks. His production speaks for itself. Hell, I'm watching Ty Johnson catch a quick screen last week for Buffalo. Who do you think ran it down? Kapow! And knocked it out for the 32nd time. Who do you think it was, Jake? Lavonte David. I love him. He never leaves the field, and he's got to get this outfit playing to their standards. Servassier Dennis, good player, athletic. I just feel like he's struggling a little bit in pass coverage. Some of the yardage after catch. They need Dennis with his athleticism to recognize it, see it, and pin these guys on the ground and limit the damage, man. The outside matchups will be key. Puka Nacua, 73 for 850. Nacua is a badass. I told you Tampa Bay gives up 138 yards a game after the catch. Nacua has 340 yards after the catch already himself. I saw him last week against Seattle. He is not a happy person when he has the ball. He's trying to hurt you, man. He's trying to knock the shit out of you. So they got to get lathered up on defense and put this man on the ground. He's dangerous on these quick screens. Hell, they handed him the ball on jet sweeps 2 or 3 times last week. Nacua up against Zion McCollum. If he lines up on the right, it'll be 27 McCollum, who's a very good tackling corner. He has been beaten deep a couple times, but I like McCollum's matchup against these Ram receivers. The other side is Davante Adams, number 17. When I look at Davante Adams, I think he's sore a little bit. Last week they targeted him 7 times, just the 1 catch for 1 yard. And in the red zone, they'll run the ball with a built-in RPO. They'll run flies, fly stops, and 1-step bullet slants. He caught one for a touchdown last week, but 7 targets, just 1 catch. And that should be interesting over here. I don't think Jamel Dean is going to play, number 35, and he's had a hell of a year. He's the number 1 ranked cornerback in the NFL, just a 26.2 QBR. He's got 3 picks. I don't think Dean is going to play. It could be the rookie, Benjamin Morrison, out of Notre Dame. And what a challenge that'll be. Davante Adams is probably going to bed at night before the game thinking, I got a rookie this week. And Morrison, you should be looking at this as an opportunity of a lifetime. The nickel corner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is Jacob Parrish, rookie out of Kansas State. He's one of my favorite guys. He reminds me a little bit of Rondé Barber, a guy who's in the Hall of Fame who helped us win a lot of games, man. This guy Parrish, he had an interception last week on the second play of the game. He has 7 TFLs this year. He had 2 against the Buffalo Bills. Excellent run defender. They bring him off the slot. He's got ball production. He's a little bit like Devon Witherspoon was in 2023 for the Seahawks. He is very formidable. You got to know what you're doing against him. And the slot receiver of the Rams, I don't know who it's going to be. Tutu Atwell's on IR. We already told you about Xavier Smith. He's in concussion protocol. So it might be Jordan Whittingham, number 88. A lot of these Rams, as you know, they insert into the briar patch and block. Some of these guys are probably getting stepped on, man, and beaten up. It's a long season, you know. And finally, it's the tight ends of the Rams, Parkinson, Davis Allen, and Terrence Ferguson against the strength of this Buccaneer defense. These 2 safeties are great players. I love second-year man Tyke Smith. What he is doing, number 23 out of Georgia, first year starting in the NFL as a safety. He played nickel last year, is unbelievable. He's got 74 tackles. He's got 11 PBUs. But I'll say this too. Last week against Buffalo on that little loop screen to Ty Johnson, it went 52 yards. He took a poor angle and it resulted in a touchdown. And as much as I love Winfield, 48 tackles, he's got a sack, he's got a pick, he's a productive badass. I thought on that scramble touchdown to Shavers, I don't know where he was. He's got to get deeper. These safeties are the ones that got to take some responsibility for all these explosive plays. So come on, Tampa. We got to eliminate the big plays. When you're back, you're back. When you're deep, you're deep. We got to stay on top of these Ram receivers, and they know that. Going to be a great matchup. All right, let's take a look at this Buccaneer offense led by young offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard, just his first season, going up against Chris Shula, defensive coordinator of the Rams. He's a relative of Don Shula. What a hell of a job he has done with this Ram defense. Tampa Bay offensively got the running game going last week against Buffalo, and that's a good thing. They ran for 202 yards, 106 by Sean Tucker. They got 51 yards from Rachaad White, and Baker Mayfield used his legs again for 39 of those yards. 202 yards rushing. One of them was a long touchdown run, and some of them kept the Buccaneers in optimum down and distance situation. They stayed on schedule, and it allowed Tampa Bay to get some third and shorts. They were 9 for 16 on third down, and it looked like Tampa Bay's offense was flowing pretty nicey. Ooh! Tampa Bay did not lose this game last week because Bucky Irving, their feature back, didn't play. I was really impressed with this Sean Tucker. You know, on that long touchdown run, he was running 21 miles an hour? That's fast, man. This guy can really roll. They might have discovered something here. We all know the limitations the Buccaneers have in their passing game with all the injuries at wide receiver. Now, there is a chance Chris Godwin, number 14, could return, and that could really help this team as they work towards the stretch run here. We already told you they got 4 out of their next 6 games at home, and they desperately need Godwin and his run after the catch. Those skills are missing in this Tampa Bay offense. The vertical passing game has struggled lately without all these receivers. Baker has 7 touchdown passes that have traveled in the air 20 yards or more. That's tied for the most in the league with Jalen Hurts of the Eagles, but they're just 11 for 34 connecting, and in the last several weeks, they've had a hard time finding the connection. The other thing that's hurt Tampa Bay is their ability to beat blitz coverage. Man coverage, blitz man coverage has given Tampa Bay some problems. The Buccaneers with Mayfield are only completing 56% of their passes against 5 or more blitzers, and they're only averaging 5.0 yards per pass. That's at the bottom of the NFL. They're not getting big plays like the Rams are. Matt Stafford has 22 touchdowns, no picks. The Buccaneers are at or near the bottom in every statistical category against the blitz. And I know the Rams under Chris Shula don't blitz a lot, but they have some really creative inventory. They're good when they blitz. They're hard to pick up. And they did get Darnold a couple times with blitzes called last week. Tampa Bay is struggling in the red zone. Last year they were very good. This year they're 25th in the league in scoring touchdowns just 51% of the time. They got to fix that. And what are the reasons for the concern? Maybe Baker Mayfield doesn't feel comfortable sticking it in tight windows working with receivers he's never thrown to. I don't think they've been as good in the red zone at scramble drill situations either. You know, these veteran receivers with Mayfield last year, they cut people up when the pocket broke down. Not so much this year. And as a coach, you always got to look at the design of the plays in the red zone because the playbook changes when you get down in there tight. Maybe Josh Grizzard and his staff have some new fastballs ready for this Ram defense because the Rams on defense, they are one of the best red zone stuffers in the league. I look at the Rams on defense, they only give up 43% touchdowns. So if Tampa Bay gets down there close and has to kick field goals, it's going to be a long flight home to Tampa. 2 other things with this Buccaneer offense I think are important. Number 1 is Baker Mayfield's legs have returned. You know, in the first 6 games, Mayfield had 165 yards rushing. But in the next 3, he had 0. It's because he was beat up, man. But it was great to see him scramble for 3 first downs against the Buffalo Bills. That's his game, man. He keeps plays alive. He can extend one bad snap and make it a great one with his creativity. Those are the plays I'm sure that worry the Rams the most. I love their rookie receiver, Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, their first-round pick. You know, when I was coaching, I used to love coming to work with a great receiver. When I was in Green Bay, I got to coach Sterling Sharp. I go to Oakland and get to meet Tim Brown, Jerry Rice. I got to coach Art Monk in Philadelphia. Hell, I got to coach Irving Fryer. A lot of these guys, gold jacket wearers, they have to understand how hard it is to be the number 1 receiver in the NFL. Egbuka has to be in great shape. For instance, against the Buffalo Bills, he played 94% of the plays. That's awesome. A lot of these guys, they run down the field and they run right to the sideline to get some Body Armor Flash IV. Hell, I say, get your ass back in there. I'm on the sideline. Tim Brown, he'd run down here, run back into the huddle, and then down the field and back to the huddle and down again. You gotta be conditioned, man, and you gotta play great when you're tired. That's what Ibuka's learning to do, and I think it's awesome. Remember this, young receivers, conditioning comes first. Mental and physical toughness. Secondly, you gotta learn how to deal with star coverage. I mean, you come out of the huddle and you see their best corner looking for you. I was at that Tampa New England game. I love when Ibuka would come out. Christian Gonzalez is looking for him. You have to handle that pressure, that responsibility. They're going to put their best on you. We used to see roll Jerry Rice, roll Tim Brown, roll Irving Fryer. They see you, they automatically check to a coverage rotation at these great receivers. It's hard on you. They could put the star corner on you. You could get tired as hell. Then they could start rolling the coverage towards you. You're getting man coverage, and they put the free safety over the top of you. They lean the safety over the top. That's what defenses used to do to Galloway, and it still pisses me off today. Then you line up here, you're an ex-receiver on the backside of trips. The corner and the safety start talking. They say, Yale, 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 and they play cover 2-man on the backside. They play the normal coverage on the other side. Or they say cloud, 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 and they roll up and they roll over the top. They gotta stop these great receivers. You think these defenses aren't sophisticated? The other thing about Ibuka he's learning, he can't miss practice. Even though he's tired and he's sore and he played 94% of the plays and he's got a sniffly nose, all that stuff, because the coaches are staying in there all night, trying to move him around, trying to get him routes he's never run before or never shown on tape. So you got to be ready to go practice those routes on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday so your quarterback is comfortable, the coach is comfortable, and he's comfortable. And then you got to learn how to move around. I mean, hell, if you just line up as the ex-receiver, they're going to find you and they're going to take you away. You got to learn how to play in the slot. You got to learn how to play out wide at flanker. You got to get in the backfield. You got to come insert and go through the line of scrimmage once in a while. You got to handle all the audibles. There's a shitload of stuff this guy's learning, and I freaking love him for this. Most importantly, if you're a young #1 receiver, you got to love the misery. You got to love adversity. You got to love a sore body, being tired, getting double covered, getting star coverage, and tearing somebody up. And I think this mindset is starting to get festered inside of Ibuka. That's what happened to Mike Evans. He became the GOAT. He learned how to be a #1. And this guy's learning how to be a #1. And when Evans comes back, they got 2 1s. And when Godwin comes back, whoa, it's got me feeling nicey. The Rams on defense, last week we talked about them, and I said it's the lowest paid defense, and it might be the best overall defense in football. It's a credit to Les Snead, Sean McVay, and certainly Chris Shula, this coaching staff, for developing these players. I feel a brotherhood when I watch the Rams. They play for each other. They play their freaking ass off, man. And I think it's like an old college atmosphere, man. It is really cool to watch. These guys push each other. They do have a key injury, and I think it could really hurt this team. Quentin Lake was one of my favorite players on defense in football. Not that you care, but Lake, he was a badass. He was a leader. He was a great communicator. He did a hell of a job as a playmaker in this Ram defense. His presence, his command, his consistency and versatility is going to be hard to replace. You know, Quentin Lake didn't miss 1 snap this year. You know, last year he didn't miss 1 snap until week 17 when McVay said, hey, you're not even playing because we've already made the playoffs. His durability, complete package, man, is going to be sorely missed. So they're going to lean on a young guy named Josh Evans, undrafted player out of Michigan. He had 180 total snaps played until Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. Number 30, Josh Evans, he will get the opportunity he's been waiting for. One of the things the Rams do is they play multiple fronts. I don't know how they get all this stuff practiced. They have a 3-4 base defense. They'll put Puna Ford on the nose. They got Fisk and they got Kobe Turner at the defensive end position and 2 very dangerous edge players, Verse and Byron Young. And they have Omar Spates, number 48, very good linebacker, and the Landman, Nate Landman. They play a 3-4 defense. They'll kick the shade in over the guard and play a weak reduction. They'll kick him over the guard and play a strong reduction. They'll put them both over the guards and play a jam front. And then they get into their saw dog looks. They'll put landman on the line of scrimmage. They'll put number 30, Josh Evans, their nickel on the edge. 2 edge threats that can blitz or set the edge. And they'll put Spates as the middle linebacker. And they create saw dog issues for you. Then they play a load front. A load front is when they take 3 defensive linemen and put them on one side of the center. They isolate the other end on the other side, and they'll take a linebacker and cover one of these guards. And on one of the interceptions, they ran a nasty stunt that got home on these load fronts. So every time you break the huddle against the Rams, you're like, what is it, a 4-3? Is it a load? Is it a jam? What the hell are they playing? And your blocking schemes. Did you practice that run scheme against that front this week? You're seeing a lot of shit get thrown backwards because of the multiplicity of the fronts. When you combine that with a lot of multiple coverages and disguises, wow. I see them in a split safety. They're playing Tampa 2. The next play, they're playing 2 sky. The next play, they're playing cover 2 man. The next play, they're playing 4 cross quarters. The next play, they're playing cover 6, quarter, half. That's when Cam Kinchins got another interception. So the multiple fronts, the multiple coverages and disguises, they create a lot of confusion, and it can bother quarterbacks. But most importantly, these guys are a brotherhood. They play their asses off, man. They fly around, they're physical, and they knock the shit out of anything that's wiggling, man. So if you play against the Rams, button your chin strap and wear your freaking mouthpiece, man. They got to be aware of Baker Mayfield's scrambles. This year on 3rd down, he's left the pocket 14 times. He's got 12 first downs. He's dangerous as a runner, and he gets out of a lot of trouble. So they might have to stunt the front a little bit to contest some of these scramble lanes. And as I said, this is one of the top red zone defenses in football. The good pass rush, they got an excellent array of coverages and athletic defenders, and they know how to play on 3rd down. Just 34% conversion rate on 3rd down. It's like music to my ears to have a great 3rd down defense and a great red zone defense. Whew, man, I gotta go take a nap. I'm dreaming. And most importantly, the Rams have done a great job of eliminating big plays. I mean, when you look at the running game, there's only been 2 runs of over 20 yards, second in the league. They've only given up 27 passes of 20 yards or more. That's 7th in the league. So they make you go the long, hard way, and they let offenses self-destruct. They're at the top of the league in yards per play allowed, yards per pass, yards per rush, yards period. It's a stingy group, and these are some young, on the rise, soon-to-be rich players, man, that are playing on defense. But remember, Quentin Lake is out. He's a big part of their communication and their down-by-down consistency. They got to prove they can continue without him. The other thing is Tampa Bay, I think, is going to run to the right because they got a right tackle, Luke Gedicke. He's healthy. They call him the enforcer. Take a look at this, Clay. They love to run counter plays. They'll put a wide receiver in jet motion. I call it eye candy, just to get everybody looking at that fly motion. But Gedicke and right guard Dan Feeney, they'll get a double team. I call it a deuce. And they'll add to the backside linebacker. They'll use their tight end, Cade Otton, against the defensive end. He acts like he's blocking, but then he bluffs him, and he takes off and blocks the safety. And this defensive end, he's playing off the tight end block. All of a sudden, the center blocks back, and here comes left guard Michael Jordan. Boom! He kicks him out. And here comes Tristan Wirfs, the all-world tackle, pulling around the horn for the play side backer. And out of the pistol, Baker hands it to Sean Tucker. This thing went for 44 yards. They put in Sterling Shepard on the backside to help cut off the edge. But this double team to the backside backer, this bluff, setting that end up for the guard to kick it out. And when you see Tristan Wirfs running through there, it's like, is that Tristan Wirfs or is that freaking Bucky Irving? Man, that guy can move. All right, let's take a look at the matchups. The offensive line for the Bucs, I have colored in their 2 guards. They've had a lot of issues at guard this year. Tristan Wirfs is the left tackle. He's as good as there is in the league. I love Luke Gedicke. He missed 7 games with plantar fascia in the foot. I used to have the trainer say, hey, so-and-so's out. He's got plantar fascia. I'd say, what kind of shoes is he wearing? I would blame the shoe company. I would find out what kind of shoes Gedeke was wearing. Anyways, Gedeke is the enforcer. If you piss off any of the Buccaneer players, if anybody hits Baker late, if anybody hits Rachaad White late, believe me, the enforcer's going to get you, man. He might not get you in this game, but 2 years from now, he will not forget your name. He's a badass. That's why they like to run these counter plays to the right. Right guard is Dan Feeney. It's the fourth different right guard I have seen. I think the Rams want to get Kobe Turner right over Feeney. The center is a hell of a player. Grant Barton, former #1 pick out of Duke. Michael Jordan is filling in for Bredesen at left guard. He started last week against the Bills. So the offensive line has had a lot of moving parts, 2 new guards, and this Ram front, man, is very good. They have 28 sacks, no sacks in the last 2 weeks. Everybody's like, hey, they got no pass rush. Bullshit. They have a factor grade. 2 of the pressures they got on Darnold last week resulted in interceptions. They are led by Byron Young, outstanding pass rusher, 9 sacks, high-effort player out of Tennessee. He'll go on the outside against Gedeke. They will put Young inside on occasion in obvious passing situations. The other guy is Jared Verse, last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year. He wears number 8. He's as physical a defensive lineman as you will see at the end position. He can really set the edge. He can shock the tight end, and he is a real impact tackler. He's forced 3 fumbles. Love Verse, love Byron Young. You'll see Stewart, number 10, out of Michigan, come in as that third rusher on occasion. And be alert for Byron Young in the rover package. What do I mean by that? A lot of times you'll see him walking around over here, number 0. He'll look for a candy bar to take a big bite out of. But Young is dangerous, Verse is dangerous. And inside, when they play their 3-4 defense, Poona Ford, number 95, very good run defender, got good lateral range and hand usage. And Kobe Turner, don't forget that name. He could ruin this game. I'm waiting for a 2-sack performance out of Turner. He's a solid pass rusher. He had a lot of sacks a couple years ago. And Braden Fisk out of Florida State, number 55, hell of a player. He plays on the nose and can play defensive tackle. I've seen Fisk go outside. Sometimes they put Fisk and Turner at end, and they put Young and Verse inside. They do a lot of things with this Chris Shula calling plays, a lot of different looks. They also have Davis, number 90. They got Murchison, 52, and they have 57, Ty Hamilton. They have a lot of fresh bodies that keep everybody feeling nicey. The Buccaneer run game, I'm seeing the emergence of Sean Tucker. It's almost becoming a 50-50 split with Rachaad White. Last week, White had 42 snaps. I think Tucker had 32. Tucker is fast, and he's a good receiver. Tucker has a 4.6 average this year, 51 carries, 235, and Rachaad White is the leading rusher. 97 rushes, 376 yards, and he averages 3.9 yards per carry. White's a hell of a receiver, and they look for him a lot on checkdowns and screens. He's already caught 28 passes. I think Todd Bowles and Josh Grizzard are going to go with the hot hand. If White's running good, keep giving it to him. If Tucker's rolling like he was last week, keep doing it. I remember when I was coaching in Philly, we had Ricky Waters and Charlie Garner. We put Charlie Garner in, Ricky got pissed. And Charlie got hot, so I said, we better leave him in there. And then Ricky got really pissed at me. But anyways, sometimes you got to go with the hot hand no matter who feels what. The matchups on the outside are interesting. With Godwin back, what will they do with Chris Godwin, assuming he plays? Will they get him comfortable in the slot? Will they give him a little package of plays to work back into it? Or will they just put him out there and let him roll? So we don't know exactly if he's playing or what his role may be. But again, the go-to receiver is Ibuka. And Ibuka wears number 2, 717 yards. Are you kidding me? 6 touchdowns. 5 of those 6 touchdowns have come from 20 yards or more. This guy's learning how to be great. They also have Sterling Shepard, played at Oklahoma with Baker Mayfield. He led the team in receiving last week. Sterling Shepard has been a revelation for the Bucs. He wears number 17. He's got 34 catches, 350 yards. He won the Seattle game with a late touchdown. He can play all 3 positions. And you're going to see Tez Johnson, their 7th round pick out of Oregon, quietly with 20 catches, 13 yards per catch, and 4 touchdowns. They would love to see Godwin, I think, take some of those snaps away. But let's keep an eye on these corners for the LA Rams. The headliner to me is Emmanuel Forbes. He comes over, he gets cut, he washes out in Washington, he's reinvented. Hell, 20 times last week, he breaks the huddle looking for Jackson Smith and Jigba. Bats it away in the red zone, shows good recovery. He doesn't panic on the deep ball. Made an eye-opening tackle on the Seahawk tight end early in the game. Had a game-ending interception up in San Francisco. He can play man coverage, cloud coverage. He's got ball skills. I'm happy for this guy. Forbes, he wears number 1. He's from Mississippi State, so that guy Brandon Walker will probably be like chiming in on this. Over here on the other side, it's Kobe Durant, number 14, 4th-round pick, good player. He had an interception last week, and he splits a little time with Darius Williams. I like Darius Williams, number 31 also. He's a 7-year vet. You know, he gets benched at the beginning of the year. What do most guys do when they get benched, Clay? He starts sulking. Not Darius Williams. This guy plays his ass off. He tackles. He has an interception last week against the Seahawks. They're blessed to have 3 good corners. But this is the position where Quentin Lake used to play in the nickel over the slot. And Quentin Lake, he set the edge. He blitzed, he covered slots, he covered tight ends. He was a badass. It'll be Josh Wallace, number 30. We got to keep an eye on that. He's smart, he's instinctive, they like him a lot, but you got a lot to prove, Mr. Wallace. Good luck. We're rooting for you, man. And then the tight end of the Bucs is option number 2 with all these receiving injuries to Evans and McMillan and Godwin. Cade Otton has had a hell of a year. He's got 37 catches, 380 yards, but he doesn't have a touchdown this year. Hello, maybe in the red zone where we're struggling. Maybe we got to get big Cade Otton back across pay dirt. But Otton's been solid, and he played 97% of the plays last week. This is a guy that really plays his ass off. And the safeties for the Rams, Cam Kinchens, young second-year safety, is really coming into his own. He was a Gruden grinder last week. He had 2 interceptions against the Seahawks, and his play has got to raise to another level without Quentin Lake. The good thing for him is he's standing next to Cam Curl, probably the most reliable Ram we got. Cam Curl, he can play in the middle. He can play any split safety coverage. He can key the tight end. He can do a hell of a job in coverage, and he's a good eraser tackler. The Rams are solid on defense, but it's this linebacker I want to point out one more time, the Landman. $1 million 1-year contract. You know, Landman, Nate Landman, came over from Atlanta. His dad was a rugby player in Zimbabwe. Is that how you say it? Is that how you say Zimbabwe? Yeah. I've never been to Zimbabwe, but his dad was a rugby player, right? Sean Landman. So Nate Landman is watching his dad blast into guys. He is a hell of a linebacker. He forced another fumble last week. That's 3 weeks in a row. He's got 90 tackles, clearly leads the Rams. He's in the top 10 in the NFL. I am happy for this guy, man, because he's getting what he deserves. He's busting his ass. He never comes off the field. I've never been to Zimbabwe. What do they eat over there? I'm hungry. The other linebacker is Omar Spates. You know, in the last 2 games, Omar Spates has 18 tackles. Get to know these Rams on defense. Don't just get enamored with the offensive stats. DraftKings picks the Rams to win the Super Bowl. So this young, lowest paid defense, they deserve their props. Well, you got to pick somebody. I used to work with Sean McVay. I love to watch the Rams. I used to work for the Bucs, man. I'm rooting for the Bucs. Come on. But I'm going to pick the Rams in this game. I just think they're really hot right now. They can beat you so many different ways. 30 for the Rams, 23 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's going to be a good one.